Boston, Pennsylvania, the show you've all been waiting for. Welcome to the Renegade Repos, the Pilot's Lounge Series. Tonight's show is brought to you by Harris Investigations, LLC, with offices in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, West Virginia, and Maryland. Harris can help you with all your investigative needs. Skip tracing, investigations, and searches of any kind. Call Harris Investigations if you really want to find. Also brought to you by CW Aviation Parts and Both DJs. The moderator for tonight's event, in the right corner, from Reading, Pennsylvania, the former voice of the Reading Fightin' Phils, Justin Choate. In fact, Justin knew all the current Phillies before their manager even knew who they were. Our first repo pilot, with over 100 repossessions to his credit, Duke Similly. Duke just flew in tonight from Long Island, and boy, are his arms cold. Our second repo pilot, with over 200 repos to his credit, Tom Huntington. Come on, Tom, pretend you're trying to get away and run into the cockpit. Our third repo pilot with over 400 repos, Trever, Otto. And finally, from the hit TV show Airplane Repo and the executive producer of Renegade Repos, Delpo's favorite son, Mr. Ken Cage.
Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's special event. My name is Justin Choate. I was the previous public address announcer of the Reading Fightin' Phils. I also host a local food show called Bites of Berks. It's up in Berks County. You probably never heard of it. That's okay, but I'm glad to be here tonight. Let me tell you a little bit about Renegade Repos. It's an online show created by Ken Cage from Airplane Repos with the director of Season 2 from Airplane Repo, Jorge Abarca. Renegade Repos will reunite Ken and Danny Thompson and let you see all the action you love seeing and a whole lot more. Before we get started tonight, I want to thank tonight's sponsors. Tonight is brought to you by Harris Investigations, LLC. Harris is the premier investigation company for skip tracing, background checks, surveillance, and more. Yeah, how about a round of applause for them? Covering PA, Delaware, New Jersey, Maryland, and West Virginia, call Harris. Also brought to you by CW Aviation Parts, bringing you top-of-the-line aviation parts at discounted prices. I2SP Brewery, pretentious never, passionate always. And by Volts DJs, doing weddings and other events in the area for over 20 years. Yeah, how about a round of applause for our sponsors? So let's talk a little bit about tonight. The Pilot's Lounge is a series we're doing for Renegade Repos that allows us to hear stories from the pilot's perspective. Now, this is something that's never been done before, so this is going to be a lot of fun. And since the show is so popular with the aviation community, we're going to hear a lot of technical information from the pilots about flying repoed airplanes. We're going to hear a lot of awesome stories tonight. Some things you would never imagine. They're going to make your jaw drop, you're going to laugh, you're going to cry. It's going to be great. We're really excited to do this. As I said, it's never been done before. It's never been explored before, and we're really excited to bring this to you tonight. So what's also really exciting about this is that the Renegade Repos team asks subscribers to the webpage and on social media to submit questions. And a lot of these questions are going to be presented tonight. They were all asked by fans, so that's a lot of fun. And we're going to have some time at the end of the show for questions from the audience too, so make sure you get those questions in your brain. All right, are you guys ready to meet the pilots up here? Let's meet them. We have Duke Similly, Tom Huntington, Trever Ott, and of course, Ken Cage. So I want everyone to tell them a little bit about yourselves. Let's go down the line here.
Hello. How you doing? My name's Duke. I'm from Staten Island. Started flying when I was about 12 years old, 13 years old. My uncle's plane, and got my license in that. Went to flight school down in Daytona Beach, where I met these guys. Actually, me and Trevor were in flight school together, and we met Tom along the way. Tom went to River. I think we slummed it in the River Flight School. But anyhow, yeah, and then Trevor and I got to become good friends in flight training and became roommates, and then Trevor got met up with Ken there. I guess we'll get to that later. But yeah, so I own my own airplanes, a 1948 Cessna 170, and I had a few actually when me and Trevor were about 20 years old. We both had airplanes, and we should not have airplanes. So that's a whole nother show of messiness. But anyway, yeah, that's all I got. Currently flying for an airline now. We're all professional pilots, and yeah, it was a great time back then. I haven't seen Ken in years, and it's good to see everybody and catch up. And last night, Tom crashed to my house because he's in town, and I'm suffering from PPD, that post-party depression right now. I'm like a little hungover. I'm trying to get myself squared away here. And the two loudest people are our wife and fiance over there. So thank you very much.
All right, let's hear from Tom. Go ahead.
All right. So I'm Tom Huntington. I'm grew up in Florida, and always from an early age as a kid, I had a passion for aviation, and it kind of just led me down the path I'm on now. Always liked stick and rudder flying, you know, the flying tail draggers and gliders and anything like that, and it kind of brought me into the direction of these guys. Really, is what it was. Yeah, because we worked together at lunch. Yeah, so we worked together. So I got to know Duke and Trever and all that stuff. So really, this is kind of how it started. Is the three of us were friends, and Trever met Ken somewhere along the way, and brought the rest of us into it. The rest is really history. As far as me, and like Duke said, we'll get into the rest of this later. But as far as most of that goes, a lot of it was having the resume to do this kind of stuff. And my passion for aviation kind of brought me to have the resume to do this stuff. I've flown a lot of different airplanes, and even in our early 20s when we started doing this, it was I just happened to have the right experience for the job. So, but yeah, it led me to friendship with these guys, and led me to meet Ken, and the rest is history.
All right, thanks, Tom. That brings us to Trever.
All right. Check, check. Okay, there we go. All right, my name's Trever Otto. Right along with these guys, I think we all started flying about the same time. I got my passion from my father, and he was just a pilot for fun. I guess the story I tell everybody, which is kind of cheesy, but our fourth grade teacher had us write a letter to ourselves, and he said, "I'll send it to you when you graduate high school." So we had a lot of letters in a file cabinet somewhere, and in that letter, when I got it, it said that I wanted to own an airplane and be a pilot like my dad. So all the way back in fourth grade, I knew that I wanted to fly. That led me, essentially after high school, I worked a little bit. I wasn't ready to go to school. Went down to Daytona Beach. Went to the same flight school as Duke. We hated each other initially. There was a lot of competition between the two of us. I really did not like that he had an airplane before I did. So I decided I had to buy my own. And after I bought my own airplane, we hit it off really well, and we've been really good friends. Duke stood up in my wedding, and that's a whole nother, we're not gonna go down that road. From there, I randomly met Ken. I don't know, you wanna get into that now, or do you wanna?
Wait, we got questions.
Okay. So I met Ken down the road, and we formed a relationship, and from there, you know, the only guys I knew that were pilots were all my buddies. So, you know, two of the best pilot buddies that I know, best stick and rudder guys I know, are these two sitting right next to me right here. And we kind of hit it off, and off we went. We worked with Ken for a long time, upwards of 5+ years, I think, and did a bunch of repos for him. As they both are, we're all airline captains right now, all instructors at the airline, and that's kind of it. We're here to support Ken, and glad to be here.
All right, Trevor. Ken, after you.
Thank you, Justin. First of all, thank you, Justin, for being here. I appreciate it. It's not every day you get a Reading Phillies PA announcer to come and monitor it. So this guy called Aaron Noel up to the bat box, and Mikel Franco and Reese Hoskins and all of it, so it's pretty cool. I'm excited you're all here. Thank you for being here. I think these guys have such a unique story that nobody would let us tell in the previous show. So that's kind of why Danny and I, with Jorge, decided to put this together. We're hopeful that you enjoy it, you're excited about it. Since I'm on the mic now, I'm going to tell you the truth. It's amazing that I got to meet Tom and Duke. The first time I questioned my decision to buy this company was when I did my first repo with Trever. The police came and I found him in a ball crying because 20 cops came.
No, I may have hid. I may have ran and hid. But I don't think there were tears shed.
Maybe it was raining, but it looked like he was in a ball crying. So that's the first time I ever questioned my decision to buy the company. And the funny thing is, despite that, I still use them every single time I could.
So you get this guy who says, hey, let's go do a repo. I'm like, that sounds like fun. And then cops show up. It's not a good combination for your first time doing this.
So the funny thing is, we were in Stuart, Florida for this one. I'll tell you a quick story. And I'm sure he'll get into it more, but we went late at night to try and avoid traffic, and it was after hours. The security guy saw us there, flashed his light at us. We're like, we're good. Next thing you know, we heard literally like dozens of cop cars. I'm like, wow, there must be some kind of major emergency. Yeah. Next thing we know, there's 20 police officers coming up on us. There was 20 officers. I think there was 12 cars, 20 officers. Guns drawn, coming right up to me, right in my chest. They're like, okay, what are you doing? I said, a repo at this airplane. I called it in. Here's the number. Who are you here with? I'm here with these. I'm here alone. So then when it calmed down, I'm like, well, how come 20 cops had to come for this event? Really? 20 cops for repo? They said there was 6 more that got stuck behind the train in town. So it wasn't like there was 1 officer or 2. There was literally 20 cops with 6 more on the way. So I can understand when his first repo was 20 years old to see that. But I still think the tears were unnecessary, just my own opinion.
There may have been.
All right, well, we kind of touched on it a little bit, a lot of it with that first story, but I want to hear about everyone's first repo. So let's go down the line here.
I was actually thinking about that the other day. I don't exactly remember too many details, but I'm pretty sure Trever took me along with him on one because it was my first one. And he also cried on that one too, you know. But
I see a theme maybe developing here.
I do remember actually we rented a car. We were both too young to rent a car at the time. We started doing it with like 20 years
We
old.
cost Ken a lot of money
and
when we rented cars.
So Ken rented us a car, and I remember it was like all new back then. You're 20 years old, you get a rental car, like that was pretty cool, you know. So we're like, let's beat on it a little bit. And I'm like, do an e-brake slide. And Trevor's like, all right, what's that? I'm like, well, just go and make a turn and pull the e-brake. And he does it on an off-ramp of a highway, and we like smash through the guardrail.
He's not lying at all.
I'm not lying.
This is a 100% true story.
At 70 miles an hour.
We didn't flip though.
No, but we were sideways, and then like the big cloud of smoke just passed us after we stopped. And hit the car. And then anyway, but
I was scared.
we were gonna like go and like get touch-up paint.
We went to the auto body store to try to buy some white paint because the car was white.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd paint the bumper white because we kind of might have hit the guardrail.
But I do remember about the airplane. We were looking around, and it's not. I'm sure, like on the show, you know, like they put the things that keep it exciting. Also, you know, there's a lot of more legwork than it looks like in the show. You know, like so we would go out there a lot of times, and the plane just flat out wouldn't be there, or we'd have to we'd have to drive all over creation looking for this plane, because Ken would do his research and say like, oh, I think that plane is over here, now we drive out there and try to find it. Or we'd have another plane, a repoed plane, that we would fly to all these different places to look for this other place, and we would hot skip and jump to planes all over the country. But that's kind of a long way around my first repo. But honestly, to be completely honest, I don't really remember the actual first one. I remember the time, but I don't remember the plane that it was.
I cried on my first one.
So wait, so you've had so many, you forgot the first? Is that what you're saying?
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, it's a possibility. But yeah, like, not to go back, but to attest to what Tom said and Trevor, I think to do this, you have to be a certain type of pilot too. Pilots are typically kind of ballsy, I would say, to begin with. But to do something like this, you have to have a good background, like a resume, like Tom says. You have to be a tailwheel pilot. Usually helps, makes you a little bit better. We're all tailwheel pilots.
It's all stick rudder stuff.
Before we go any further, what is that? What's a tailwheel pilot?
Conventional gear, they call it, where like on a modern day airplane, the wheel is in the front of the plane. On a tail wheel, the wheel is behind the center of gravity. So it's like trying to push a shopping cart backwards. You know how many it just wants to, like, you push it, it'll just want to whip in front. The center of gravity is behind that, so it wants. Tom can really explain it better than I
Flying
am.
tail draggers keeps you sharp because the airplane wants to go every which way but straight. So you really got to be under game to fly an airplane like that, and that's the background that all three of us have.
And we all learn on tail wheel planes.
The first question you would ask somebody that was looking to do any kind of repo work is not how many flight hours they have, but how many different airplanes have you flown. That was the most important question. And if it was, oh, I've flown two.
I think each of us here have anywhere between 80 and 120 different types of aircraft that we've flown throughout the years with Ken and just privately.
Which really sucks when you're applying for an airline job and they say, oh, how many different types of planes and how many hours in each one do you have, and break it down to each one.
All right, guys, well, I hate to cut this one short, but that's all the time that we have on this episode. We want to thank you guys for being here. Tune in next time for the next episode of the Pilot's Lounge. I'm Justin Choate. We'll see you soon.